Alright, this is OXDF, and today I'm working on Gobox from HackTheBox. This is a box developed by IPSec. I've got a blog post that shows the full solution for the box, and you can check that out on oxdf.gitlab.io. But for this video, I wanted to show you how I write a quick script to enumerate when I've got execution on a box but can't get a shell for whatever reason. I love writing these little Python scripts, but it's often difficult to show in a blog post how the process for creating this kind of script. And I certainly don't want to give you the impression that I just type right out the first time, the finished script. It's a very iterative process, and I thought it might be useful to show people how I work through that kind of thing. So let me know if you like these video editions. I'm definitely not an expert at talking and typing like someone like John Hammond or IPSec might be, but I'm going to do my best. And with that, we'll go ahead and dive in. On Gobox, I've got this /forgot URL where I can put in an email, and so if I do that one right there, and it prints back to me on the screen, email sent to, it actually says email, don't know why, sent to, and repeats back to me the input. I can try to do something like some sorts of injections or something here, but if I put in anything that doesn't match an email address, so just looking ahead, I know if I put in this server-side template injection for Go, it's not going to work because the client-side JavaScript is looking for an email address. What I can do then is jump over here to Burp Suite. I've got this successful post. I will kick it over to Repeater, and in Repeater, past that filtering, I can do the same thing, and if I send that now, you see email sent to, and then it actually dumps out an object that was passed to the template. I go into the server-side template injection a little bit in the post. For now, what's important is there's also a function there I can call. So if I do -debug cmd and then give it a string, in this case like ID, you can see email sent to the output of that. Perfect. That's RCE. Again, I'm not going to go into it here, but I tried a handful of ways, was not able to get a shell out of this. So I'm going to be stuck doing some enumeration based on this. There's no reason I can't just come over here and put in different, ls-l/ and take a look at what's there. You get that, it works perfectly well, but I like these opportunities to have a scripting challenge, and I'm kind of to the point now where in 4 or 5 minutes I can throw together a neat little shell that does everything I need it to do, and then I'm much more comfortable working off of that. So I'm going to jump over here to a terminal and start doing some coding. So I'll make a directory to work out of. That'll seem to work. And go in there and run tmux so I can get different windows. And then we'll start with a Python script. So we'll call it rce.py. I will put a shebang in because, as John Hammond says, I'm not a savage. There's been in Python 3, and I'm going to work with the CMD module, and that is my go-to for this kind of thing. It gives you up arrows, help menus, etc. So then all you have to do is import CMD from CMD, and then we'll define a class. And we'll call the class term, and we'll subclass it off of the CMD class. Next thing I'm going to do is give it a prompt, and this is just like what I want it to show when it's waiting for input. And so for the sake of being nice and specific here, I'll use Gobox. Next, I'm going to give it a default function, and what that is going to do is this is what happens when if I don't call any known keywords, this is the function that's going to get called. And in this case, whatever I pass in will be passed in as args. It's actually kind of cool. This is overkill for a small script like this, but I can put in a doc string, and it'll say, run given input as command on Gobox. And I'll show where that shows up later. And so for now, just to make sure I get my script working right, I'll do a print args. And then the one other thing I'm going to define is if you create a function that is named do underscore something, then the CMD will interpret that as if you enter, in this case, if I enter exit, it'll know to run this function. And then whatever is passed after exit will be passed as args. In this case, very simple. I'm going to exit, and I'm just going to return true, and that's how I can get a clean exit out of here. But for more complicated things, it's nice to have the ability to add different commands. And then finally, I just need to actually create an instance of this class. So term equals term, and then start it. So it's term equals CMD loop, and I will write that all, and I'll come down here and I'll do Python 3 rce.py, and I'll say hello world, nice. And it prints back to me. It does exactly what I've asked it to do so far. So that's cool. Okay. The next thing I'm going to need to do is I want to really replicate this web request over here. So I'm going to go up here and start with the requests module. That's how you make requests in Python. And then I will come down here, and so I'm going to say response equals requests dot post, it's post command, and I'm posting it to HTTP 10.10.11.113 on port 8080, and then I'm going to the forgot URL. And I'm going to put some data in there. The data is going to be, let's see, what are we looking at over here? Email, and then what I'm passing in. So the email, typing and talking at the same time is not trivial. And in this case, I'm going to do a format string, and I'm just going to put in args to start. And we can test this as well. And again, I really like to just build small pieces at a time and test, because if you just try to code out everything at once, it's when it doesn't work, troubleshooting is just a giant pain. So I got all that, and in this case now I'm no longer going to print args, I'm going to print response.text, which will be the body that comes back. And I will go down here, I'll exit out of our running one and run it again. So let's just see if I can put OXDF, well, let's see, we'll do the basic injection here that we showed earlier. And so looking at this real quick, I got back the whole page. It should be under, let's see, there's the post, it should be right in here, and it's not. And I'm not sure why. We're off to a good start here. Again, this is why we build in small pieces. So one of the things I really like to do here, let's go ahead and we'll add a proxy. So we can look at what's happening here. So we'll say proxies equals, and then we want to put the HTTP proxy, and we're going to set it to burp. So that is on HTTP 7001 on 8080 on my box, and save that off. Exit here, run it again, and we'll put that injection in again. All right, just to make sure we're not missing it. Yep, it didn't come back. So we'll go over to burp here, into the proxy history, and we can see here's the request I made from requests, and it returned. So when I did it in Firefox, the return was at status 200 with the results. When I did it here in requests, it came back as a 301. And you can see real quickly, if you look right here at these two requests, the URL is slightly different. And it's sending us actually a 301 to go to forgot slash, don't handle forgot. And so that right there is probably my issue. Let's go up here and add the trailing slash, write that, exit. What happened there? Exit. And I'm not sure what that error was, but let's just give it a try. And there we go. Now we can see we've recreated the injection, email sent to blah, 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 blah. Now what I really want, so if I want to run a command now, I can probably do debug cmd, open parentheses, let's do ID, like that. And it worked. It didn't work. Interesting. Oh, it returned a bad gateway. Something crashed there. This is where it's nice that we're working through here. Coming over here, I'm guessing. Well, let's kick this over to repeater and give it a try. We'll see. At the end of the day, what we're just going to do is we're going to mess with it until we can figure out, until we get it working. So I don't think it's this URL encoding, but let's try and see. If I change that, does it work? Nope, still doesn't work. Okay, so we'll control Z out of that. I wonder if it has something to do with the ID and that. And that was it. It doesn't like, so does it not like single quotes? Let's see. Yep, that was it. Okay, so we need double quotes there. Let's get out of there. Come up here and, oh, that's not even in the code. It was just here. So if we do debug command double quotes ID and enter, and we got results. Sweet. So that worked nicely. Cool. Now what I don't want to have to do is type that in every time, because that's just a pain, right? So what I'm really going to do is come up here to data, and I'm going to come in here. Inside of an F string, if you want to put an actual squiggly, you just put it twice. So that's one, that's two. Then I'm going to do .debug command. Then I'm going to have my args in quotes. So I'm going to put the quotes here and quotes here. And then I need to 1, 2 there. So now whatever I send in as args is going to get put in here and run as the debug command. So now shouldn't in this new version, I don't need to put in debug command blah blah blah. I should be able to just put ID and get that back. So let's see if that worked. And it did. That's beautiful. Okay. Clearly, the next step is I don't want this full page back every time. What I really want is just the results here. And so if I come up here, I can see I want the results that come after email sent to, and that then up into the spaces and the button class. So this is a good chance to use regex. So I'm going to go up here and do import RE. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to assign, let's see, what do I want to call this? Capture RE. And I'm going to do re.compile. And all this is doing is, I could define the regex I'm looking for down and have it each time, but it's a little bit faster and just good practice if you compile it ahead of time. So come up here and I'm going to start with that. And then I want to capture, I'm going to say, so I'll do dot star, and that should capture all the stuff I'm looking for. And up until, then I'm going to have a bunch of white space on the end. And so what I like to do for that is /s, I believe. But you know what? Let's check that. So we can pull up our thing, visit regex 101. Visit regex 101, and come over here in the quick reference and just do white space. And any white space is /s. Perfect. Okay, so /s plus, so that it's more than one. And then I will add in this button class. And with regex, and at least with me, this is almost never going to work the first time. In fact, what I'm going to do here, rather than even mess with it, one of my favorite little tricks, import pdb, if I can type, pdb.setTrace. And what this is going to do is when it gets to this line, is it's going to drop right into the Python debugger. And so that way I can play with it and get something that works. So we'll run this again. We'll run ID. And here we are, I'm at PDB. If I do resp.text, I get the full page. It doesn't print as nicely. If you really wanted to see that, you could do a print around it. And now it prints nicely. Let's see. So we got this resp.text. We're going to try to pass, let's see, capture re dot search, and then we're going to search on resp.text, and let's see if it finds it. Capture, because we're defining it inside of the terminal class, it's actually going to be self.capture.research. And look at that, it actually might have got it right on the first try here. So let's see. So the match is email sent to my results, and then some weird stuff that shows up here. Oh no, that's just it trailing off. Cool. So I can actually do .group. I think it's groups 1. You know what I didn't do here. Let's see. So groups. What I did not do. So we're gonna hit Q to exit here. I didn't say what I wanted to capture. So when you do a regex, you start with what do I want to match on, but then you can also put parentheses around what you actually want. So I want all the stuff that matches this dot star. I don't actually want the email sent to or the button class or the space, but I need it there to help, or else my dot star would just catch everything. So we'll try that again, and we'll put in ID, and here I drop back into PDB. We can do capture re.search our response.text and see what we get. Again, self dot. All right, so I got something here. So what's cool now is you can type groups, and it's there. You can also do groups 1, and let's see, what's group 0? Group 0 is the full match, and group 1 is just the capture part I wanted. So that's really cool. Okay, so now I have right there exactly what I want. So instead, now I can go down here, get rid of the PDB, and instead I'm going to print out, just copy and paste it from right here. Self.capture, text, and there we go. So write that, quit PDB, rerun, enter ID, and look at that. How cool is that? It's never quite that simple. When you get to the ID command, it's really like tempting to spike the football and say, oh yeah, I'm done right now. Cool. You always want to test it with a little bit more complicated stuff. Now you can do that right now, or go back to solving the box, and when something breaks, you'll figure that out. So for example, let's say we want to do ls on slash, and okay, we didn't match anymore. What happened there? Another trick I really like to do here is come up here, and what I want to do is I'm going to add a try block here, and I'm going to add except. So this, and it's bad practice to do except everything, but in this kind of case, this works fine. And so if it happens, if for some reason it breaks, I'm going to import PDB. I'm going to pdb.setTrace, just like I did before. So I will figure out why it broke. So here we are. We enter ID. It works. We enter ls/, and we're there. So let's look at what response.text is. It's a little bit hard to see. Let's actually print it so we can see exactly what we're looking at. Okay, I'm guessing, just real off the bat, it has to do with the fact that I'm trying to match on multiple lines. By default, in Python, and with the regex, when you do a dot does not capture on new lines. But you can come over into the regex and do, I think you do it at the compile time. We'll figure that out. re.dot_all, and now dot will also catch new lines. And so let's give that a try. ls/, and we got our new lines. That's cool. Okay, we're getting the results now. There's one other thing. This is like a really nitpicky thing, but you can see what we have in this regex is we're capturing everything in here, and then we're capturing one or more bits of white space here. And we're only printing what's captured in the first one. So when you have all this white space at the end, these extra new lines, do they get captured by the dot star, or do they get captured by the /s+? In this case, it's clearly they're getting captured by the dot star because they're getting printed out. What I can do to tell it I actually don't want that is move over here, and I think it's dot star question mark. And if I come down here and run that again, now it's not capturing that trailing space. The question mark says, don't be greedy. Capture just the minimum amount you need to satisfy the regex. And so the rest of it can fall into the /s, so it will. So that's working quite nicely. Let's do an ls-l on slash and see how it looks. This is mostly good. There's again, this is perfectly good. If I was racing for first blood here, I wouldn't be spending time polishing this out. In fact, I'd probably, depending on how complicated it is, I might just be working out a burp. But because I'm like to have things done nicely, I can go here and look at what is going on with these amp, GT, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's clearly some HTML encoding, right? Maybe it might be, I don't know if it's easier to see over here. We'll come back and put in, let's see, let's make sure this is working. ID, got results, sweet. ls/ls-l/, see what we get here. Yeah, it looks exactly the same. So this is some HTML encoding, and all that's happening basically is when the server's returning things that could be interpreted as HTML, it's escaping them for us. So again, because I want to get rid of that, let's see, what's the module to do that? We'll do Python on escape HTML encoding. Let's see what we get. Decoding HTML entities in Python string, that sounds good. Sure, accept your cookies. All right, HTML on escape. Seems good. From HTML import on escape. And we'll come down here. And I'm going to make this, just for the sake of readability, I'm going to start making this a little bit. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. So result equals, and then we'll do results equals on escape result. And then we'll print result. Let's see if that still works. Chance I broke something is not 0. ls-l/. All right. Now this is interesting, right? If you look before, zoom up. If you look up here, it was dash ampersand. This ampersand got unescaped when I went down here. So now it shows up as an actual ampersand, but it's still producing this ampersand GT semicolon. It looks like this is actually double escaped, right? So this first one represents the ampersand, and then all that together runs that. So I'm actually going to try unescaping it twice. Let's put unescape exit, start again, and ls minus l slash. Sweet. Now I've got what it was really meant to be shown, which is that like bin is actually symlinked to user bin. Lib is symlinked to user lib. So that's looking good. We can do some things like testing. Can we write, a common thing I might want to do is echo something to a file. So can I echo test? No. Haha, okay, something died again. And well, let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. So the thing immediately where I'm going to go is, first let's go to Proxy actually and see what we got in the proxy. So this is going through like this. Let's see what happens if we DURL encode that. What's the best way to do that? We'll send it over to repeater, I guess, because we can't edit in the history window. And we will Control-Shift-U. And immediately, I don't know if it jumps out to you, I see the problem. The command is open parenthesis, echo space, close parenthesis, and then stuff. And so it's crashing, right? That makes perfect sense. Bad gateway, that's what we're getting back. If we were down here in PDB and we did response.status code, we could see it was a 502. It did not like that. So as I've been doing, let's see, can we make it work over here in burp? And the first thing I'm going to do is try to see if I can escape these quotes. And boom, that works. In fact, look, it echoed out test, it worked. So that's pretty simple. Thinking about the best way to do that, I don't know the best way to do that, but we're going to do something kind of kludgy here and just say, let's say cmd equals args.replace. And anytime we see a double quote, we're going to replace it with, what was my escape? So I'm going to need two of those to make a slash character, a double quote, and close. And then, now we don't need to put args in here anymore. Now we need cmd. Let's see how that works. We'll jump out of PDB, we'll run again, we'll echo test, and test came back. So sweet, we got that working. I think at this point, I've actually got most of the test cases I wanted to show working. I've got a good thing, so I can do things like run hostname and see that it's in AWS. I can actually do which AWS and see the AWS binaries on there. I've got a shell I can work with, and that's really what I was looking forward to move forward in the box. So I'm going to cut the video here. Hope this was useful, and talk to you again later. Thanks.